Hello everyone and welcome to the Animezilia, and today we'll be going over Doctor Stone episode 7, entitled Where 2,000,000 Years Have Gone. So before we head to Kohaku's village, we get a bit of character personality info from this character. As we get small interactions between her and Senku, where she shows off the fact that she's cautious. She's a very cautious character as she sleeps with her knives in her hands, due to the fact that she's not 100% trusting of Senku just yet. So she finds it hard to trust people, which is rightly so, and it's kind of smart as well, because Senku is someone that she's just met. And like someone else that she's just met, that being Tsukasa, Senku could very well be someone who, is quite a bad person that just does something nice for her. This is why she doesn't 100% trust him, but she does trust him a little bit. And she dislikes being called names like Lioness, and especially Gorilla. However, we do also learn that she does also have the trait of kindness. And she loves her nuisance of a sister. So much so that because her sister is currently ill, as a result, Kohaku needs to travel to this hot springs with a giant jar just to collect enough water so she can have a bath, as the water is said to have healing properties. And another character trait that we learn from this character during this episode is that she's super short-tempered, and some of the faces that she pulls were actually quite funny. She's very skilled with her knives and her shield, so I'll be interested to see what sort of fights she has later on down the line. So as first impressions go, Kohaku, I really do like this character. From her design and from her personality and from her traits, I just find this character to be all round that interesting and entertaining. So our first look at the village where she comes from. Looking at the visuals, they look fantastic. And this is where we get a nice shot of different people from the village, so people that will play a big part later on down the road. And we learn that there are around 40 people currently living in this village. We then meet Ginro and Kinro, who try to attack Senku because outsiders aren't allowed in this village. Because to them, the only people that are outside the village are those who have long been banished. And they both at first seem like honourable and respectful guys, just following the rules. But Ginro, he obviously learnt from none other than Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as his ultimate technique that he shows is him running away. Especially when he can't fight something. That's just his go-to. And in this case, it was Bubbles. But I'll forgive him, as a new brilliant character arrives in the form of Chrome, who, as he states, is a insanely smart and a genius sorcerer. But little do we know, he's just full of hot air, and I love the character of Chrome. Chrome as a character is just someone who's very likable, as we see him try and fail to scare Senku by using his sorcery, as he calls it, which is basically just science. That basically Senku can see through every little trick that he does. And I love the fact that Senku isn't fazed at all by this. He understands it all, and he even tries to tell Chrome how to improve his tricks. Like, for example, when we see him using the copper sulfate ball to rub it with his hands and then create electric shock, Senku's like, hold on a minute, if you rub this ball in leather, you get a bigger impact. I just love the sort of expressions, the hair, everything. The comedy in this part was fantastic. I loved the whole idea of Chrome being like a goofier version of Senku and trying to beat Senku was just great. And the number parts in this episode where he's like, hold on a minute, I've never been beaten at numbers, so I challenge you. And then it's just like, yeah, I think Senku's got you beaten, that guy. And this part genuinely made me laugh like crazy. Because obviously we know how ridiculous Senku's mathematical abilities are. And I just love the fact that Chrome thinks he can beat him at it. Chrome is just such a lovable character, and I really do like the character of Chrome. Now, I mentioned earlier about Ginro being, no, I didn't mention it. Huh. I kind of skipped over that. Yeah, I did. Sorry. Ginro being quite cowardly. Because earlier I mentioned him to be like Joseph Joestar as he runs away. But for the other one, Ginro, it seems like he's a sucker for the rules. But he does show some sense of pride, as even a gold tip for his spear doesn't faze him in terms of being a bribe to allow Senku into the village. But it does stir his imagination into making him think and imagine himself as being a strong, proud warrior, which I did like as well. It was a nice touch. Then, we kind of end the episode off on a bit of a sad note, with Chrome showing us that he wishes to cure a girl named Ruri. And Ruri, she's currently got an illness. And he's been testing plants and stuff on himself to see what works, and to see if he can find something that would possibly cure her. He even cries after Senku tells him the story about the world and all of its technology, and how someone has turned it into this stone world that we know of now. So this all shows kindness from Crow's character, and I really did like seeing that. We know Chrome's goofy, we know he's kind of over the top and crazy and silly, but deep down he's kind and he cares for people around him. We also get to find out that Ruri, she is Kohaku's sister, and she seems to be a very kind person herself. She cares a lot for her sister, plus she also seems very observant. She notices Kohaku's hair being changed from the previous day, so maybe there's a bit more to this Ruri character than meets the eye. Now, we do end this episode off knowing where we'll be heading for the next couple of episodes. And it turns out that we will be creating antibiotics, as this should help Ruri's condition. Because now that Senku's got Chrome's sort of base or such, Senku now has access to loads more minerals, stones, plants, and other scientific stuff that he could have. And it is also worth noting that I did love the fact that Senku and Chrome were geeking out about all this stuff, and then Kohaku was just like, yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's very reminiscent of when like an anime fan like myself and yourself talks and geeks about anime to someone who has no idea what that is, and it's just like, what are they doing? Are they okay? I mean, do you need help? I'm just gonna stand over here and look awkward. Anyway, I really did like that about this episode, and overall, this was a great episode. It has some great character introductions, and the info given to us was brilliant as well. Plus, the comedy was great throughout. I genuinely did like the comedy in this episode. I found it to be fun. Yes, it was a little bit cringy at times with their faces, but it worked all in all. The one thing I will admit though is, it's the first time in the Dr. Stone series that I thought the sound effects and the music was a bit clunky. There were a few instances throughout this episode that the music started to play and it just kind of cut off very suddenly and very quickly, which to me doesn't actually ring nicely when you're watching something. It just kind of disrupts everything and makes it not hard to follow, but just overall breaks up the part that you're watching. And I found that to be a little bit disappointing, but nevertheless, it was a good episode all in all, and if you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend for you to go and do so. Because, you know, you're going to see some great characters, and hey, Chrome might be your taste, or he might not, and Kohaku might be your taste, or she might not. Not in a weird way. So, with that out of the way, that does it for this review, and if you've enjoyed, I hope you smash that like button. Hey, more than that, if you're new, subscribe to the Anime Extelia so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll be catching you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.